What is up, YouTube? It's Sexy Rev. Oh, yeah. Red light district. We got the red light district. Oh, yeah. I wonder if I could hook them in my ear. Oh, they are, huh? Pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Ow, make my day. Pretty sexy, huh? You like it? Yeah. I can use it as a nose. Yeah, red light district. Pretty cool, huh? I like them. Cool. All right. All right. Oh. Oh. Hold on. Oh, my neck. You could be gaming, yeah, gaming, yeah. You could be gaming, but you're playing with coins. Could be gaming, yeah, gaming, yeah. You could be gaming, but you're playing with coins. Oh, you could be gaming, but you're playing with coins. All right. That might be a new hit single. I'm trademarking that. You could be gaming, but you're playing with coins. Ow. I shut the stream off because they said that nobody could hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Well, they said they couldn't hear me, so I cut the stream off and came on my other camera because I can't switch cameras for some reason. I don't know, but I can't. I haven't figured it out. I'm trying to figure it out. What I'm going to try to do is work on it tomorrow. I'm going to try to work to where I can use this camera, and then when I want to, I can switch from this camera down to my microscope. I'm going to try it, see if it works. I don't know. Anyway, so, oops. I'm going to bring it down here so you can see this coin. So anyway, when you're looking at this coin, if you look around the coin, all right, you can see that the luster's still there, right? It looks a little toned, but you can still tell that's a mint state coin, right? And if you flip it over and you take a look at it, you know it's a mint state coin. And why is that? Well, because you can still see its breast feathers. Still got all of his feathers all the way up, right? You can see all the wings. There's no wear on them. See that? What happens here, guys, is sometimes you have weak strikes on coins, right? And that can do that. And then when the coin starts to turn, and starts to tone, you can see highlights. But then the other on your fields in here, which there's very, very little marks anywhere. Wait a second. What is that? Hold on. Is that a VAM right there? I think there's a VAM on this coin. See that right there? Let me turn that coin a little bit. Matter of fact, let me get some different lighting on this bad boy. Oops, that ain't gonna work. All right. I'm trying to get the right lighting. I think there's a VAM over here. Anyway, if you look, you can still see in spots. You see that? You still see it in spots. Right, starting to tone over. All right. Good night, Esther. Take care. God bless. Thanks for stopping by. But if you look, it's starting to tone over, right? And that's what happens. That's what happens with some of the Morgans. So sometimes what goes on, and people don't always catch it, is that you can have a mint state that looks like this, right? And here's my reason why I know it's a mint state. Take a look at her face. You see her face? All right, Esther. Take care. I love you. Be good. Be safe. Behave yourself. Don't get in trouble. Hey, what's up, Eric? What up, homie? Uh-oh. He must have heard I was talking about Morgans. Are you here for the Morgan class, Eric? Hey, Eric, you here for the Morgan class? This is Morgan 101 by Reverend Bob. Hey, what do you guys think? Should I make Texas Joe moderator and give him a little blue scoop? What do you think, old soul poet, Lady Braven? Should I make Texas Joe blue? Oh, wait, because I probably got Lagosaurus. I'm waiting on Old Soul Poet. Okay. Eric says yes. Okay. Also, yeah, he ain't saying nothing. Poet. This is a preacher to poet. How copy over? Okay. Cool. There you go. So, I want to explain something to you guys because sometimes when you're buying Morgans, right? Say you're at a flea market. Say you're at a yard sale, right? Or say you buy a coin lot, right? And you're not buying them from me and I'm upset. Anyway. Okay, that's fine. If you look at her face, you see her face? See her face? See how beautiful it is? I mean, she got one little ding there and one little ding there, right? But look at all that frostiness. Do you see all that frostiness? There's hardly anything, no rub. You don't see any rub, right? There's no rub on any of the tops, right? And if you look around the side, you don't see it either, right? Now, you say to yourself, yeah, but that doesn't look like, you know, most of the other Morgans that you see in MS State. Well, that may be true, but you got to understand when they cast silver, right? So when they're casting silver, not all the silver is going to come out exactly the same. When they're cutting off the planchets and they're pressing it, right? And sometimes the pressing, sometimes they may have, back in the day, they could have had a little too much grease on the press, could have had some buildup. I mean, there could be many different reasons why, even though this is a mint state, why it looks like that. Just remember that. Okay? So when you're looking at Morgans, always remember that, because you might have a hidden gem. Because when you look at that coin, and I put it on an angle, now you see the difference? Now you can see that shininess. It's not the plastic of that Morgan. But that's the original luster. It just so happens that when it gets toning, it can really throw you for a loop. So what happens is sometimes, and how you know that is when you look at the reverse, right? So when you look at the reverse, you know it's the metal, because you see the same type of metal looks to the coin, right? So it has to do with how it's toning. And unfortunately, it happens. Unfortunately, it happens to coins, and it has to do with the mixture sometimes in the way that they cut the planchets. Because back in the day, guys, they used to punch these out with a punch, right? I mean, in the way that the punches were set up and the way that it cut it and how sharp it was and the hardness of it was very different. And sometime if you get a chance, I want you to go. God, trying to think of where it is. I'll just show you myself sometime, but I'll have to dig and show you. But this is why you got to pay attention to these coins. They can throw you off. They can make you think that they're an AU or an XF coin, because what you're doing is this dullness is messing with you, right? The dullness of the coin is messing with you. And what could have happened, right, is sometimes in the mint, you'll see that some of them have that proof like, and some of them have that cameo effect. Well, however, them two dies were coming up and stamping this could have a lot of effect on it too, right? How you know that is when you start looking at these wings up there. You see how that stamping is? You see how this side here was really nice? And it's so beautiful and crisp. But look at that wing. Do you see how it looks like maybe the die was wearing out? I'll show you on another Morgan. I don't have any other Morgans out right now. But, well, I got these Morgans, but I don't think anything are relatively as close to that coin here. But let me grab one of these other ones. Hold on a second. Do I have any down here? Morgans? Oh, yeah, these are Morgans too. All right. Okay. Any Morgans in here? Sexiness? No Morgans in here. Grab one. The hell? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get this. Maybe what I'll do is shut this light off so you can see. All right. Now, I changed the angle on that camera, right? You see how this gets a little chattery here? Let me show you something on this coin. And I'll try to bring this one into the picture so that you can see what I'm talking about. You see the crispness of this? See the crispness of these wings, these feathers? You see this line right here? Now, come on, Mr. Camera. There we go. If you look here at this coin, you see how it looks a little like this, like the die was starting to wear out where it punched it? This is not wear, guys. I'm just showing you. See that on the wing? When you look at this one here actually looks crisp in some areas. You see this right in here? You see the detail in here? Look, this one here is an MS64, right? And you see these lines right here? How they go into the feathers? Look at this one up here. This one here is actually, you can see it better, right? The only difference is the end of the feathers here. You see where the end of the feathers come in right here? You see that? And that's how you know it's a mint state. Because it still has all the details, and these are even better. Detail part of it, even though that's a little weird. But they're different dates, too. You know, this is a 21, and I don't know what that one is, 18 something, right? So you can see it. It's a difference in the dies, right? So if I pull this one up, you see how this wreath is here? See how it looks? Just take a good image of it in your mind. Now, let me put this one down here. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll flip this coin around like this. Oh, shit, I can't do it. Well, to give you a little bit of image anyway. Damn, I can't. But you know what? I could probably do it side by side, huh? That way you can see. So, you see the crispness of that wreath? See how crisp it is? See how crisp it is? Now, when you get to this leaf right here. See that right there? It looks a little flat, right? All the other ones don't. So what's happening is, it seems to me that the dye was starting to get wore out. See that right up in there? See the way that is on them feathers? But when you look at this down here, it doesn't have that. It's still crisp. So when you're really taking your time, you got to study these. Now, I could probably crack this out of here, go downstairs, and make it look really nice. And I was going to do that, but I like the way it's toning. Now, from this picture, you can see the copper coming out, right? So the copper's starting to change the color. See this little, you can still see the original luster in there, see it? And the copper's starting to change this coin. Now, it could be because of where it was in the mint. It could be the way it was stored. It could be a lot of things that are changing the color of that. But if you're not conscientious of that, you know, and if other people are not conscientious of that, they can be selling these coins and be saying, oh, you know what, I'm just going to sell that as a very fine, right? Or extra fine. Well, here's the difference. When these go to mint state, well, they, you know, they get up into them $50, $60, $70 coins, you know. I mean, depending on what it is, it could become hundreds and thousands of dollars. So when you start learning that, you don't miss this stuff. And this is very important. So just keep that in mind. When you look at the front, I'll show you too. Now, when you look at these two coins, you see this coin right here? It's a little chatter on it, right? See a little bit of chatter right there? And there's a couple little spots there. But the fields, which is the inside here, right? See them fields? Nice and frosty, right? Okay. Now let's go back over the hand of this one. This is tone. You can tell by the color. Once you know enough about coins and Morgans, you can tell that color, and you grade enough of them, that color right there is tone. Because when you look at her face, there's very little chatter on her face. And when you look at her hair, let me show you something. Let me teach you something vitally important. You look at her hair, right? You see this right here? Right across here? Look at hers. Hers look more worn, right? This is an MS-64. And it really is. Now, when you take a look at this one, and you look, it's the same. It's the presentation of the coin. When you look at this little bonnet on the back of her hat right here, right? See the loops? See the little QQ? You can tell that when that stamp came down there, that it was getting worn out. Now we're talking an 1886 coin versus, 1921. But you can still tell on the inside because there's still little itty bitty highlights of that original luster that hasn't toned yet. So it's transforming. So just remember that. Keep that at the top of your list when you are collecting Morgan silver dollars. That is very important, or you can lose money. All right. Now you say, okay, Rev, but did I change my name? No, my name's still Robert Philip Cornell. Did I change my name on the stream? Yeah. Let me show you something. Now, when I flip this up, you see how see the detail in here? You see how that luster starts to come out when I get that right angle, right? You see the real luster? You see the real luster in the coin. So when people grade coins, from NGC, ICG, NGC, they tilt the coin. Okay, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, Michelle. When you take a look at this and you tilt it, that's why in the grading room they tilt coins. Because when it's flat like that, right, you say, oh, that looks like an AU versus this one, right? When you take that coin and you start tilting it, now you say, oh, that's actually a mint state coin. And that's why with all my coins, I look at them on all angles. And after a while, you can tell what that color is. You know the color. So just remember that. And there's your little lesson about this type of board. Huh? And you're welcome. You can leave $45 million in my PayPal account. Well, Michelle, I mean, I've been at Morgan's for a long time. I don't like to just do auctions. You know what I mean? I like to educate too. So when people come and they might spend a little more than what they would somewhere else, but I've hunted them down. I tried to find good coins, reasonable stuff at a reasonable price, and I'm educating. And I think that that's really important for everybody. I educate myself all the time because I don't know everything, and sometimes I forget. And I think that if you're going to sell something, you need to know a little bit about it, And with $half, I understand toning, and I understand the grade. Grading is pretty much across the scale. Some coins, they differ. Color, though, the way it tones is the presentation of the coin. So how it presents itself is about 20% of the overall grade at sometimes. It depends on who's grading it. But, why I grade coins a certain way, and it's speculative. Now, some people would grade this coin, maybe a fine or a very fine, right? And I'm going to tell you why I grade it the way I grade it. First off, you see that little ding right there? Well, when I grade a coin, I grade everything on the inside of that ring. Everything that's going on the inside of this ring, I'm looking at. Because these little dings, okay, I'm going to take off 2 points for that. Right? And then I'm looking at the fields. So these fields, what's going on with these fields? Do the fields look good? Do they look like they're all marked up? No, they don't. They don't look all marked up. They don't look all scratched up. When I look at her face, even though there's wear, and I can see the wear, I can still see the Liberty, right? I can still see the wreath. Her hair looks good. I can tell that it's worn, you know, and it's circulated. How does the date look? Is it presentable? So when you're looking at the overall coin in itself, how does it present itself to you? First off, I can tell it's real. I mean, you train your eye after a while looking at specific coins. And Michelle, you probably know this, right? You worked in selling coins, correct? And if you work in selling coins or jewelry or just about anything in any field, you learn to really see things. So I could tell that it's circulated. Now, here's my thing. Extra fine is an area that when you get into the extra fines, um, it's really it gets really speculative because some people they start in the extra fines and not the AUs. AU means almost uncirculated. It means that you can see some things that show you whether it's a little dirt or a little mud, a little grease, whatever on the coin. If it wasn't on there and it didn't have a lot of marks, then it would probably be that MS state. When it's extra fine and very fine, right? It gets really tricky. Okay, so some graders will say, okay, well, that's a very fine coin. I can see the details. Everything looks good. She doesn't have a lot of chatter on her face. It's even. Everything's even. She's very presentable. Has great eye appeal. Okay, let's go to the reverse. So when you go to the reverse of the coin, now there should be just about as much wear on the reverse of the coin, not always, as there is on the front. For some reason, there's more of a relief on the front of the coin than there is the rear of the coin. So there's oftentimes that you look at the rear of the coin and it'll look better than the front. In this case, it looks very even. So it had a very even life. Except right here. Do you see this where this reading comes in? Do you see this reading line? When you look over here, you see how it's wearing right here? See that reading right there? Now, I mean, I'm looking on the inside of the fields and I can tell his wear and wear on the chest. But everything's really good in detail, right? The one looks good. All the letters look good. The wreath looks okay. There's wear, but it's not really dampening, right? The tail feathers are all present. They look good. Mint mark is very clear. But this here, when I look at this, I can tell that, there's some wearing here. But there's not over here. I don't know if somebody was rubbing this coin with their fingers and use it as a worry coin or what, but I can tell it. When you flip it back over, you see it? See the word? See that's the reading right there? Hey, what's up, Newsomatic? Thanks for stopping by. Are you talking about a weak die stamp? A weak die pressing, Michelle? I can show you two coins. Matter of fact, I was just showing a couple. But what happens is, this is not a good example to show that, but I'll address that in a second. So, anyways, when you see how there's wear here, and in the reading, you can still see the reading, right? You can still see the tips of the reading. So I put this down as a very fine, extra fine 40. I mean, there's a lot of variance in this coin. And it's really speculative, and it really depends on the person. I mean, there's a little something going on here, and there's a little something going on there. It's not bad. If that wasn't there, I would give this, probably a solid grade, but it's really, really speculative. It really is. So you're safe at a very fine 35, but some people might grade it an extra fine 40. Some people might call that a very fine 20. I mean, it's really, it's crazy. The tone, how it sets itself, how everything looks, and how it's presenting can really do a lot for a coin. Overall, I think it has great eye appeal. It captures itself as a Morgan silver dollar. It doesn't look like it's all chitted up, scratched up, banged up. I mean, pretty much it's a solid coin. Okay? So just remember, look at it as from an even point of view. All right? So the best way to learn is this. If you have a flat board, right? And you're trying to make that flat board smooth. Okay? As you sand that board, right? As you're sanding the board, you should sand evenly, right? That's how craftsmen work. You sand it even, you evenly taking that grain down. Evenly. You're watching them grains go down evenly. That's what gives you that glass effect, right? That's what gives you that evenness over the whole guitar when you take the whole, well, I'm talking about guitars now, for God's sakes. But the board, you take the whole board, when you go even, it always looks even. Well, it's the same thing with a coin. The more even that it looks, the easier it is for you to grade it. But when part of the coin looks wore or has a lot of scratches or dings on both sides, you're grading the back and you're grading the front. And then based on the back and the front, okay, and then you look at the rim, then you could come up with an in-between grade. So if I grade, just for instance, if I graded the back of this, right, a very fine, and then, for instance, the front is an extra fine, okay, then I'm trying to get between those two grades. Now, the subjective part of it comes where, what does the coin look like? Can I sell this coin? Is this something that somebody would like to look at in their collection? That becomes the eye appeal portion of it. That alone can raise the grade. So I can say, okay, well, overall, I would give it a very fine 30, right? Or maybe a very fine 25. Who knows, right? But because the eye appeal looks so good, man, I think I'm just going to boost it up to a very fine 35 or an XF 40. And that's the subjective part. Just remember that. That's how a lot of people do it, right? Is this the actual grade? No, because it's so subjective. But that's how I grade that coin. Now, so what I'm doing is, some people, when they grade the coin, right, it's subjective. The only thing that they're looking at is the wings, right? So most people say, oh, the wings have got so much wear on them, right? And the brass feathers and the head. But there's more to it than that. It has to do with the fields. How many marks are in the fields, right? Is it scratchy? Is it gouge marks? This coin doesn't have a whole lot of that. It has a couple of them on the outer rim. But you don't see that in the fields. So that's where, one person might grade it one thing and one person might grade it another. When you look in the book, it will tell you one thing. But you know what? The red book is only a reference guide. And everybody's a little different. So some people might grade this, a fine, just a regular fine 10, right? I mean, yeah, fine 10. They might grade it a fine 12 or a fine 15, right? Because they don't like the way them wings look, right? They don't think it has enough left in it, right? But somebody else might say, well, hold on. I think that's a very fine based upon what I'm seeing down in here. So, everybody's a little different. That's why, grades are all over the place. And then you got the anal retentives. PCGS would probably grade this coin overall probably a fine 20. And how do I know that? Well, because I've gotten a few back when I thought that they were in a very fine state. And I took the same coin that I had at the time to 6 different dealers that I know. And they all said that it was wrong. So sometimes they give you the lower grade only because they're trying to be safe with their grading. They don't give you the higher grade. That's their safety net. So just remember that. You know what I mean? But when you're doing it to make money, you can push the envelope a little bit and get into your very fine state. But remember, this is not just graded from the overall grade, okay, from a fine 20 point of view. I bring it up because of the way it looks. And that's just me. Now, are you buying it for this grade? Well, you shouldn't be. You should be buying it because it's a Morgan and you like the looks of it. Buy it because you like the looks of the coin. Just like in a like I was showing you guys with the other ones, the Mint State 64s. I didn't agree with one of them. I thought it should be an MS62, maybe an MS63, not an MS64. Why? Because it doesn't, to me personally, it doesn't look like it's graded right. Now I'm downgrading my own coins that I bought and I paid, good money for, right? It's really, really subjective. And when you get down into these grades, some people say it's a lot easier to grade. Well, that could be true and that could be false because the IAPO can push it. It really can push it to the next stage. So the grade part, if you're buying them for the grade, then I'm explaining how I look at a coin and how I get this number. Now, what I do is I always keep looking back. So, fine 20, very fine. I don't think it's an extra fine 40, but this is just a representation of how it works. All right. Now, I'll tell you a little story about Morgan's. I put my grade on there. And I tell people don't buy it for the grade. Buy it because you like the coin. Buy it because you like the coin. Let's take a look at this one. Now, this is a bobber, right? It's a 1902. When you get down into these lower wears and these lower grades, AG means about good or good. Now, some people might push this up. Okay? I am a little more reserved on my quarters, and I tell you why, because, God, it's really tough when you get down into the wear marks like this, because now you're looking at the stars and the face, and the tails, and how much of the letters you can see. And then on the reverse of the coin, right, I can still see some of the letters. But up here, you don't see nothing. You can see some of it. I mean, you can see the stars. You can see that it is what it is. But this is where it gets tough. Is this about good or is this good? Right? And some people, man, they say, oh, it's about good. Some people say it is good. It's really, really tough. It really gets tough. But, you know, you have to decide yourself whether you like the coin. Most of these coins are fillers, right? So if you're doing a set, then that's why you would buy these coins to start your set. And then as you get something better, you take this out, you sell this off, and you put the next one in, and then you build it up over time. Now, let's take this one. Now, we're moving into a different realm. You can see the stars. You can see In God We Trust. You can see there's a little bit of wear on the rim, but it's offset. You see the difference? The distance from here to here, and the distance from here to here. Was this punched center? Well, that's a trip. You can see some of the reading, right? A little more detail. And it's got great eye appeal, right? So it pops out at you. When you look at the reverse, you can see the detail of the letters. See? And you can read them. Read the letters. You can see the eagle. You can see all the stars, right? And there's a little bit of the banner looks a little bit better, right? The eagle's head. So when you look, I put this could be a good or a very good. And the reason why is because the eye appeal looks good. It's capturing, right? It's very capturing. I like the tone. So that's why I gave it that grade. If this is boring you, just let me know. And I'll move on to talking about something else. But I'm just trying to show you how speculative grading is. And don't get mad and don't buy the damn coin for the holder or whatever the grade they say it is. Buy it because it's something you like to look at. Period. You don't like to look at it, move on. That's what I say. Now, take a look at this coin. Firstly, great detail. Got toning, got a few little spots on it. Okay, dark toning spots. The face looks good. Got all the reading. Very little wear, if any, right? Flip it over. Look at the detail on the back of the coin. Very nice detail. Okay. Very nice detail. Beautiful overall toning. It pops out at you. It says, this is who I am. This is a very, very nice coin. And it's a, easily a $45 coin. Why? Because these are expensive. Look them up. I mean, they range from anywhere from about $18 to hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Most people don't know about it, but it is silver, and you really got to know what you're looking at. So I think it's an extra fine 45 for sure. Overall, I've inspected the whole coin, and that's the grade that I would give it. I wouldn't give it no more. I would maybe go to an extra fine 40, only because of these spottings. But you know, that's when you turn the coin around, God, it really just tears you up to give it a, and you can see that luster, you know. When you start to tilt it, you see that luster? And then you say to yourself, man, I got to be careful with this grade. I got to be careful with that color. Because that color looks like the same color that I've seen on a lot of Morgan dollars that were in the MS state. And they were just toning. So to be safe, because I don't study the Canadian coins that much, I gave an extra fine, 45. Probably a really safe grade. And if they sent it in and they got a higher grade, then, you know, they won. But they shouldn't get any lower than probably an extra fine, 40. Based upon looking at the coin and looking at other coins like it. So, just a little learning. Now, here's an ugly coin. Now, if you look, I put extra fine, right? Very fine to extra fine. Because I don't know a lot about this coin. But I do know that this is toning. Because when you tilt the coin, you see that? It almost gives you that, looks like plated, right? And then when you flip it over and you look at it, you can see it in the fields. Let me see if I can get a better view of it. Maybe it'll bring itself up. You see all the detail in that coin? That's a really nice coin. And there's lots of different projections in that coin. I could give it a fine, or I can give it a very fine, or I can give it an extra fine. I mean, I'm not a big collector of foreign coins, but when you look at that coin and you look at it in the right angles, like I do on Morgan's, it could be very deceiving. And the metal's in it. So it's tricky. It sure is tricky. Here's a nice coin. Let me throw this light on. It's a pretty coin. And when you flip it over, oops. It's beautiful. And you tilt it, and you can see it. Can't just look at them flat, guys. Can't just look at them flat. All right, let's see what Joe grades this coin. What do you grade that one? Want to give me a grade on that one? What do you think about that one there, Joe? Want to give me a grade on this Benji? You say it's an AU50? You think that coin's an AU50? Full bell lines, right? Oh, that was funny. I was trying to catch you, Joe. I was trying. All right, let's get a little more serious. Let's see what Joe's got. What you got, Joe? What you got for me? What do you think about this one? I can't bring it too close because this camera doesn't do like the other one. I'll try. There you go. Let me tilt the coin for you. Look at that. Look at that. Ain't that a nice 1949? Looks pretty good, don't it, Joe? This is going to be a toughie. So hold on until I flip it. Pretty nice, huh? Okay. Now, let's do a two-stager back here. Here's a tilt from the front. This is going to be tough. There we go. There's a tilt from the left. And there's a tilt from the right. This is a very strange coin. It messed me up. Messed me up. Because it sure does look like there's a lot of luster on that coin. And I don't think anybody would disagree with me, right? I don't see the bell lines, and all that. I mean, you see the crack. It just looks like it didn't stamp right, Like the die, I don't know. Maybe it got too much grease on it or something. I mean, I can't really tell. But it's so beautiful in your hand. You know what I mean? Because when you look at the coin from the angles, which I'm getting old, you don't see any chatter marks, right? You don't see, I mean, it's really subjective. It's a tough coin. Now, you say MS62, right? I'd give it an AU. Probably an AU, 55 or AU 58. I'm going to, because it just doesn't, the back doesn't pan out. The front pans out. I could give the front maybe an MS60 or MS61. But the back, I can't. I can't do it. It just doesn't look clear enough to me. The feels look impeccable. But the bell doesn't. I mean, you can see some lettering and stuff. It just throws me off. That's all. It's weird. And that just goes to show you what one person looks at and sees, another person might not. And I'm going to tell you why, Joe. I'm going to show you why that bell doesn't look right. Let me show you why. Let me bring out the big guns. So when I'm doing Benjis and I'm looking at them, I have my own reference set. Now, I know that this Benji is what it is, right? I know it for a fact. There's no question what this Benji is. And it's a nice Benji. Don't worry about this little chatter right here from the plastic. That's a nice Benji. That's a proof, right? You see that? And when I flip it over and I show you, and I know it's still in the mint state, right? Look at that proof. Now, when you see this, everything's solid. Good stamp, but it's still weak up here, right? That crack, you see that crack? Everything looks right. The Liberty Bell looks right. All the fields look clean, crisp. This is probably MS65. Well, I would say. It's not really proofy. I don't give it proofy. Even that, it is. It's a nice set. But it doesn't give you those proof-like feels, It doesn't have enough shininess to it. I mean, it's just me. Is it? Or isn't it? There's a big difference between a mint state and a proof state. Big difference. Is this a nice coin? Absolutely. That's a nice coin. Yeah, it's true. But this is a nice set. I kept this. But I usually reference a lot of things off of that. When I do my dollars, right? Like Eisenhower's, Ike dollars, I go off this coin. And this is a silver dollar. It's a really nice one. And it gives me good reference. Do I use an 8x glass? I have 6 magnifications, Joe. I have a $1,200 magnifier that I use for gemstones when I really want to get anal with them. Then I have a 1500x, and then I have 800x, so that I can do different things. And then my loop I have a 5x loop, and then I have a 10x loop. Because when you're grading a coin, most guys only grade with a 5x loop. That's really where they're at, is about a 5x. And then if they really got to get detaily and they're looking for something specific, then they'll go to 10x. It shouldn't be more than 10x. Pretty nice coin, huh? Yeah, I like it. I like it. Anyway, let me put you guys back up here. Yeah. You got more coins up here. I wasn't even paying attention to them. Oops. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, guys. Give me a second. I gotta refill my coffee. All right. Well, I hope you guys had fun with that. A little something different. I don't always get to, give you my insights and educate you on how Reverend Bob thinks and how he looks at coins. Everybody's a little different, which is good. Some coins I'm a little pickier on when I grade them. And other coins not so picky. I love my Morgans, and in certain grades, I can be like 2 grades off. I mean, it's just the way it's always been with me. I think I grade a Morgan more off of its eye appeal. You know what I mean? I just have a bad habit of doing that. It's a bad habit. I want to show you guys a coin. I want to show you guys a coin, a very special coin to me. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. These are very hard coins to find. And when you find one, you need to buy it. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? No, it doesn't. Sometimes when you look at a coin in your hand, it looks a lot different than you've seen it on that camera. It really does. I'm going to show you a coin, and you're not going to get the gist of it But if you can ever find one of these, you need to buy it. Hold on. Let me. Oh, God. Here we go. I'll show you the rare. I know it's probably not showing up good for you guys, only because it's showing me in the picture. But what this coin is, no, I didn't, because I tried to call you a couple times, Joe, and I couldn't get a hold of you because I wanted to tell you about something. But I tried to text you and I didn't get your number, so. Anyways, what this coin is, I'll read it to you with my other glasses. This is a 1967 medal. It's the Nevada 200th anniversary of the 36th state. This is a Proof 63 decam. It means deep cameo. And what makes it really special is it was pressed out on old number one. Now, maybe you guys don't know what old number one is, and I'll give you a little explanation. Old number one is the original press, number one press that they used in Carson City when they were pressing out Morgan silver dollars and other things. They used this press. Now they used to say it was a steam driven. Good night. Oh, good night, brother. All right, man. I love you. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow sometime. Give me a buzz. Thank you for staying up late. Hope you learned something. If not, you can rewatch it. Everything I say is subjective. Some people believe it, some people don't. Maybe get a little bit out of it. Love you, man. Take care. God bless. And thank you. I had to give you my homie throw. Okay, so let me get back to this commemorative coin. So it was pressed on old number one. Now, old number one had a belt on it at one time, so it was belt driven. They say it was steam operated. Well, yes and no, I guess. I mean, it really depends. That's subjective. It was run off of a belt and a pulley system. And back in the mints in those days, they ran most of the stuff was all written. I mean, it was multiple belts and gearing and clutches and all kinds of stuff. It was a crazy place, and it was dangerous. Well, they converted it over, and they put an big electric motor on it. Well, I don't have it up. Give me a second. I know there's a delay. Let me bring the camera down. So anyway, let me throw this back here. And change the lighting source here. Trying to get you out of that. There we go. I'm trying to get you focused in here. This is a very shiny coin. Yeah. It's about as best I'm going to do without getting flashed because this thing is really wicked shiny. So anyway, there you go. So anyway, let me get back to this coin or this metal. So old number one was the one that they pressed out, I don't know, a lot of Morgans. They converted it over to electricity, and it's still in use today. As a matter of fact, even the funny thing is they wanted to scrap it, right? So there was a coin collector, and he really loved, the Morgans and the Carson City coins that were pressed on it. So what he did was he made a deal with a U.S. Mint, and he bought it for scrap price, and he left it um, in Carson City, which is now the old Carson City Mint is now a historical place, so it's a museum. Well, the funny thing is old number one has been moved to San Francisco Mint. The government asked to use it, so it was shipped out to San Francisco Mint. It was shipped out to Denver Mint. It was shipped out to Philadelphia Mint and used, right? And then it ended up back in Carson City, where it is today. And they still make special medallions and stuff like that. At the Carson City Mint. Still today, they still make them from time to time. So when you can get one of these, if you can find them, they're absolutely nice to have for your collection. Because they do at the bottom have the Carson City Mint mark, if you look right there. This one here is toning in well. Now this is absolutely beautiful coin. Now I'll show you something about this coin. I know you guys probably will not see it. But that mint did such a good job. It looks, you see the shovel and everything? It looks like it's raised up. They call that high relief. I mean, in your hand, it will blow your mind. This is absolutely one beautiful, beautiful medallion. Absolutely. So if you can ever run across one of these, pick it up. They're absolutely beautiful. I mean, I can't say no more about that. These are really nice too. Kookaburras, they're really nice. I like them. They're beautiful. Yeah, it's a proof. That's what PF stands for. Yeah, it's a proof 63. So if you can ever get one of those anniversary medallions, 200th anniversary medallions from Carson City, you should pick one up. I mean, mine's all graded and everything. So mine brings a higher premium, but in a lot of them, they're just loose in your hand. because that's how, because they give people that. These put them in plastic. People got to play with them. They get scratched up, whatever else. I had mine protected, so mine will stay a proof 63. There's some higher grade ones, but they only made so many of them. You know, anything from Carson City, pulls a good premium. But anyway, I hope you guys had some fun tonight. And I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go get me something to eat, have me something to drink, get rested up. I still got some coins to look through and get ready. And we'll see what we're going to do on Sunday. I don't think I'll have a big auction. I'll just kind of wing it. That way people can jump in and jump out. I'll let everybody chat. Maybe I won't come on until I don't know, maybe 8 o'clock. Maybe I'll change my time from 5 to 8. And that way, I'll do a couple hours while the game's still on, and then a couple hours after the game is over with. Something like that. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Anyway, I had fun with you guys. I hope you learned something from Reverend Bob tonight. I hope that you take notes when I'm talking to you, because I know a lot about different things, different coins. What to look for, grades, what's collectible, what's not collectible. What you should buy right away, sell it right away, and then get back with it later on when it's cheaper. The thing about coins is when it's something very special, like this year, you're paying attention. If I tell you should buy it, well, believe me, you're not going to go wrong to keep it or sell it. But just remember, years like this, they're very, very seldom come around. This is the year that the reverse of the American Silver Eagle changes. So they're key dates. Okay? You want to buy the 2021 Type 1 and the 2021 Type 2 American Silver Eagle if you can afford it. Just regular mint states are fine. They're going to come out with sets. And I believe they're going to have proof sets of it too, if you can afford it. And above and beyond all things, guys, buy yourself a Morgan. If you can get them all that they come out with from all the different mint marks, because Philadelphia is going to create the Philadelphia, the New Orleans, and the Carson City with the mint marks. And then San Francisco's going to do theirs, and Denver's going to do theirs. If you can get them all, get them all. Because they're going to be highly collectible. I mean, highly collectible. And it'll give you a good reference guide to grading all your other coins. Okay, with that, good night, everybody. I love you all. Take care. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. Tell people what we're doing. And I will see you Sunday. I love you guys. Good night. Oh, and Eric Bell. Before I go, Eric Bell, read your email. Night, guys.